Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, one of Nevada's most outspoken senators, Ray Hagar, has the rundown.
One of the questions at the Nevada legislature is, what about Bob? We're talking Bob Beers, state senator from Las Vegas. In 2003, he was Assemblyman Bob Beers and a vocal leader of the Lean 15, the group of lawmakers who were opposed to Kenny Gwynn's record tax hike. But now that he's gone to the Senate, you hardly hear a peep out of him. The session has been going 5 weeks, and he has yet to insult anybody, even a liberal. Sam?
Session ain't over yet, Ray. Mary Lau on the Power Pundit panel today, along with Marlene, Lockard, and Mike Dillon. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the program State Senator Bob Beers. Pleasure to have you here as always. Let's start out with the rebate. You first came up with the idea. The governor glommed onto it. But I get this sense that we're not going to see a rebate. What's your sense?
You know, it's a little early. We've got 3 months left, but I would predict that we'll see a rebate.
The size that you were talking about, like $100 per
maybe
person?
A little bit. It'll be between what I was talking about and what the governor's talking about.
But you still think it's on the table?
I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think there are still, you know, the accounting is still being done on state revenues, and I suspect that the surplus is going to be bigger than we currently think. We'll get that news around the first week of May.
Okay, they're saying $1.4 billion to $2 billion is kind of the range at this point.
Well, you know, government accounting is full of vague terms, and surplus is one. I would count the surplus as money that's come in above and beyond what we projected to spend. And I think it's going to be about $850 million. That's a little lower number than you guys are used to, but
Still a lot of money.
It's still, that's money that we have no plans to spend. The governor has announced in his budget, as you know, $200 million of that going to the rainy day fund, $300 million of that for the rebate. He's got $80 million lined up in one-shots already, which are capital expenditures that don't create ongoing expenses. And that's $580. That's where we sit. I think that we'll see another big chunk come in first week of May. So I think that the folks that are gleefully rubbing their hands, figuring out how to spend all this money, are going to be satisfied. We'll be able to get a rebate on to our taxpayers and fill up the rainy day fund, all those things.
Bob, before the governor announced his plan for the rebate, did he have a discussion with you to talk about your plan? Because you were the first to introduce this, or did he just lift it from you?
There are no original ideas in legislating, I will confess.
Or comedy.
This is, the government has a finite number of ideas, and just because I dropped a bill draft in recommending this a month before he announced his plan, I wouldn't say that he stole my idea.
Okay.
I stole somebody else's idea. I don't even know who it was. There's just lots of ideas floating around, and we all, you do 6 years in the legislature and you hear them all, and you take your pick, and I'm pleased that he thinks it's as good an idea as I did.
We've talked about property tax solutions on the program with you before, but where do you sit now with all the discussion that's been going on in the legislature?
Haven't moved much. I think we should offer a property tax cap or a low-growth solution to homesteaded properties owned by people over 65, which gets the immediate help to folks on fixed income, which is where the crisis is. And for the rest of us, we have a longer-term crisis, which is our government growing out of control, much faster than our economy is growing and our population is growing. And so for those people, or for us, I recommend TABOR, which is a taxpayer's bill of rights. I've got a new website up called www.nvtabor.com, nvtabor.com. And it talks about TABOR and what it does. It's essentially a spending limitation measure that would have our state and our local government spending not be allowed to increase any faster than population growth and inflation. It's essentially saying we're now big enough.
Yeah, George Harris has got a thing in with North Las Vegas to actually put that to a vote of the people.
Well, his thing in North Las Vegas, as I understand, it's a little different. That is to have the people vote on the collective bargaining contract. North Las Vegas has almost the highest paid local government employees in the nation. And I think it's his plan to put their contract up to a vote of the people.
Yeah, he called it Tabor Light on the program yesterday.
Tabor Light? Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ray.
Bob, one of your colleagues in the Senate, Senator Barbara Sagaski of Las Vegas, she recently disclosed that she earns up to $3,000 a month with a Las Vegas television station as a consultant. You're a former...
Can I just throw in a disclaimer before we start getting into this? This is KBBC in Las Vegas, which is owned by Sunbelt Broadcasting, which owns Channel 4 in Reno, Channel 3 in Las Vegas, and also Channel 123, the stations on which this program airs. So with saying that up front, now let's...
That disclosure is unusual in this story because the primary people that have been making it news have not yet disclosed that they're in a partnership to provide content for one of Channel 3's competitors in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it is rather an interesting situation, isn't it?
What do you... I've never heard of that before. Lawmaker being a paid consultant.
I'm long out of journalism, and let me first tackle that from the lawmaker side. I don't see any conflict at all, and I'm not sure I see one from the journalism side either. You have to understand that TV stations frequently bring people in from out of the market who have not studied political science or government or economics or any of the other things that they study journalism, which is how to synthesize information and make it understandable. Barbara worked, as my understanding, as a content advisor, and she would come in and almost like, I don't know if you've ever been through the Leadership Las Vegas or the Leadership Reno, or there's now similar programs in Carson City and Lake Tahoe. Those programs take a group of people from the community and teach them about the community, and it's a great program. You learn lots of stuff that you wouldn't otherwise learn, and I think that's kind of what the capacity Barbara was serving down there, which is to train these people in the community in which they've been brought into to be journalists.
Bob,
as it turns out, she's not the first senator to have served in that position. It's not like this job was created for her.
And it's been going on since 2003, and she has disclaimed this, I guess, in interim committee hearings throughout.
She started disclosing as soon as Mr. Rogers became the chancellor. She didn't have any potential conflict until he became the chancellor. There's no conflict with the TV station in journalism and her. The conflict is now in her having to vote on issues of higher education And as you know, she's taken her share of swings at some of the things we do in higher education.
No
as
kidding.
have I.
Well, she's the vice chair of Human Resources and Education.
And so, you know, it doesn't look to me like she's been intimidated by Mr.
Bob,
Rogers'
is this
new
not
position.
a blatantly political attack for her votes in the last session?
You know, I'm not sure if it's that or if it's catfighting TV stations.
Okay, on that note, let's take a break. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers. More with Bob Beers right after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Peppermill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Peppermill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Peppermill. Where are you dining?
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
If it's hot, it's here at the Peppermill. The Peppermill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Peppermill. Where are you winning?
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers with State Senator Bob Beers. You know, Clay Jenkinson was on here last week, and he was talking about becoming Jefferson's people, where we would start to have discussions, salon-type discussions, at a grassroots level, working our way upward to discuss important national issues. I'm thinking that, you know, I'm a fiscal conservative, but at the same time, the state has needs. And isn't it time for us to start having a discussion on a grassroots level about how our state should be in the next 10, 20, 30 years, what we want for our state, so that as we look at this surplus money, do we look at it and put it to good use towards education, infrastructure, or do we just rebate it and stay where we are?
Are you running for office?
No, no, sir.
Because those discussions happen every election cycle when legislative candidates go door to door. I probably knocked on 15,000 doors last year, and I talked to an awful lot of people. You know, the capstone question down the path that you're leading is, how big should our government get? How big should we get? Understand that you know, we've got a Medicaid system, which is socialized medicine for the poor and disabled, that is on average more than 20% richer per recipient than California's today. I think we're attracting people to our state for those social services, and I think that's a bad path for Nevada to go down. And so there is lots of debate. There's always going to be debate. That's why we have this electoral process, and it's the thing that puts the government together.
But you're talking about a one-on-one situation here. I'm talking about, you know, should we not be having this discussion in general, one to each other, to see what kind of state we want to have?
Well, you know, what is the purpose of government? What is the purpose of government? Is it to keep you safe? Is it to provide for your future? I would submit that the purpose of government is to protect individual liberties. It's up to you to be safe. It's up to you to provide for your future. And you know, there's no way to have the one conversation without the other. This is actually the way I spend my Thanksgiving with my family as we talk about stuff like this, but we're odd.
Bob, your name has been mentioned as a possible candidate for governor in '06. Is there any way that you would jump into that race? Because you seem so quiet in the Senate, Bob. Are you leading up to something? I mean, we've been going for a month now,
Well,
and you have yet to insult anybody.
I think everybody in the Senate's quiet and the Assembly, because the bills have been pretty slow coming out of drafting. I think we had some big events happen leading up to the session that got our staff sidetracked from the usual work of writing all the bills.
This would be the Augustine affair.
Yeah, well, that's one of them. Property tax is another. Would I run for governor? I have not made any such decision. I am focusing on the session in front of me. I am now carrying a little more responsibility than I did in the past, Vice Chair of Finance, and you got a lot of homework there, and I'm doing my best to try to make sure that we don't spend any of the surplus hiring people, which would cause an ongoing expense for which we don't have a source of revenue.
But there is a probability or a possibility that you could run for governor?
There's a possibility that I could get run over by a truck the second I step outside the studio.
But what about,
here.
I know that, but what about running for governor?
I have not made a decision to run or not run.
Have
and
you
I'm not going to
discussed
answer
it?
your question any more definitively than that.
All right.
But you have left the door open once again on this program. Andre Agassi was at the legislature a couple of days ago talking about his charter school. It seems that they're accomplishing some remarkable things at that school. And they apparently funded at around $7,000 per pupil the students to the national average. They're also taking minority and poor students with parents' commitment to help the kids to this school. Are there things that we can learn from Andre Agassi's school that can be put into the public school system, do you think?
Absolutely. Free the schools from the shackles of the administration. I have a bill coming that will probably seek to limit the number of off-site administrators in a school district to 1 for every 4 schools. Now, these are administrators who rarely have a reason necessarily to go on a school site. And it's not, we're not talking about principals and deans and vice principals. We're talking about headquarters people. Clark County School District has over 220. I think they just added another dozen, so they're up to 230 plus now. And what do they do? What do they do?
They administrate.
I think that the very, very large school district is like any other very, very large organization. It becomes inherently inefficient, and they just do things inefficiently, and they waste. And that's why I support the Sandra Tiffany plan to break up the Clark County School District.
Wouldn't that cause more administration to be hired?
It would make the administration smarter and more responsive. You know, I had a kid that my oldest child went to Carson City High School last session.
Right.
And they saw the superintendent at school sometimes.
Well, they only have one high school in the whole district.
Never seen the superintendent at her school in Las Vegas.
Okay, and we've got to leave it there. Obviously, much more to talk about on this education side, so come back soon, okay? Bob Beers. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Those were very difficult times for my husband and I, finding the kind of long-term resources that we needed to continue his recovery and well-being. And it would have been much easier to have had a source that we could have called in one spot rather than calling friends, searching the internet.
One-stop access for caregivers, NevadaCareConnection.org.
Something spectacular has taken wing not far from Reno or Lake Tahoe, and never far from your mind. An escape of fine dining and legendary golf. Introducing the resort at Red Hawk. And at the center of it all, we've feathered our nest with new villas that have elevated Red Hawk to the status of a premier resort. The Resort at Red Hawk, a beautiful new arrival in northern Nevada.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
If it's hot, it's here at the Pepper Mill. The Pepper Mill has over 500 of the hottest video theme slots. And with the $100,000 Winter Video Theme Slot Fest, there's no smarter time to play these winning machines. Win your share of the money with $2,000 random cash giveaways every Monday and $5,000 drawings every Friday. And new players can get up to $100 free play.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, terrific Power Pundit panel as always. Mary Lau is here, the Executive Director of the Retail Association of Nevada, one of our proud sponsors. Mike Dillon makes his first appearance on the program. He is Government Affairs Director for the Builders Association of Northern Nevada. And Marlene Lockard heads up Capital Strategies. Welcome to all of you. Let's start out with you, Mike. What's the builders' position on the property tax issue?
Well, actually, we're kind of just waiting to see what's going to happen with the property tax issue. There's a lot of proposals out there right now, and we're not exactly sure where that's going to end up. We're definitely concerned. We want to make sure that there's funding for all the local public entities.
You know, speaking of funding for local entities, it's been discussed at Washoe County School District of placing impact fees on new homes to help pay for schools and all the new development needed. Where do you stand on impact fees?
Well, we actually are already involved in the impact fee process. So we already participate in that, and we support it. So.
Do you support it being increased at all?
You know, that's something that we could revisit with the school district. I know the district's under a lot of pressure right now at the legislature. We have some concerns over a story actually that you did, Ray, last year that came out with some. It came out with basically a projection that they had a shortfall.
Right.
But we have some issues about basically how that shortfall is computed. There's really no funding mechanism in there that they have computed that considers any kind of increase in assessed property value for the next 10 years.
Mary, Senator Beers was on here earlier, and there still seems to be no consensus at this point on where we should go on this issue with property taxes.
Well, there actually can't be, Sam. I mean, right now, as everybody knows, leadership is meeting with staff just trying to get their arms around what can be done. What exactly is constitutionally allowable? What is not going to impact local governments down the way? It will impact to some extent, but what's their break-even point? When do they come back? There's some, consideration that some governments have more money than others. How do you offset to the local governments in the rural areas and stuff like that? And they have to get their arms around what is feasible, what is doable, and what the options are. Then the general population of the legislature can take and start reviewing all the individual proposals. I think they're very, very smart not to allow just everybody to have their own bill and drive staff absolutely crazy. Staff is still cleaning up 2003, and they're still cleaning up the Augustine trial, and they're still trying to get the legislature running.
So do you think that they're going to make the end of March deadline for the assessors?
The end of March deadline is sort of a pseudo deadline. Right now there's, statutory things that happen, but everything can be set out to a degree. Once you delay this timeline, the next timeline's delayed and the next. So they can try to do it, but they're not going to be boxed into forced to say we have to do it by then. Otherwise you don't have good public policy. You just have reactionary law.
Marlene, isn't there a problem too now with getting all, there's been such a roadblock on bills coming out of the houses. Are they going to make the deadlines for the end of March there as well? And if they do, will it be a nightmare?
I think they've got a real problem. There's only been a little over 300 bills introduced so far. That's behind previous sessions, but their new rules require that each bill has to pass the House of Origin by the end of this month. So that's just about 3 weeks, and really so many bills have not yet appeared. It could be just a whole flood if they all come at once, and if they miss the deadline, then they're in danger of missing all the other deadlines, and they've got 120 days to wrap up this business.
So do you think...
That's exactly what it is rules. The only thing they can't miss is the June 6th or June 7th at 1 a.m., whichever way you want to look at it. The other rules they can set back.
But it seems that everybody, the way things are going, we're headed for another special session that they won't end on time. I guess I'm in the minority on that?
Well, I think they're going to work very hard to avoid that. I think they have a lot of reasons to end on time within the 120 days. But the pressure is building to get things moving.
And I agree. I think they really need to make sure that they work hard to get this done before the end of the time limit so they don't have a special session. And there's a lot of people actually that are in that legislature right now that probably have an interest in making sure that that's done.
And Mary, I want to get the comment that goes behind the laughter.
Behind the laughter is Richard Perkins cannot afford a special session. He wants to run for governor. Can he administrate in a session? If it goes to another special, he hasn't had one session yet that hasn't gone special session, regardless of the reasons. And he has to show leadership this session if he wants to show he can run the state. We have a special session. It's campaign fodder.
Barbara Buckley is going to introduce her prescription drug bill tomorrow to allow Nevadans to be able to import drugs from Canada. Is there much appetite for that at the legislature, do you think?
I don't know how they're going to handle that because it's against federal law. So right now, you can put up this artificial thing that says, yes, we can do it. And the governor himself is not enforcing that because everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen federally and stuff. But the way prescription drugs work is, you know, they're manufactured overseas. And let's say you've got 10 million drugs, and you've got 6 million that's scheduled for the United States because we pay the research and development for the other countries, as everybody knows. And then maybe 2 million of those end up in Canada, and another 3 million end up in Germany, and that's just a bizarre example. They've only got a small portion of drugs in their socialized medicine. How much can Canada send to us? How much can other nations send? It has to be solved at national levels and also global levels.
And I apologize, but we are out of time. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
This is one of Sierra Power's main generating plants. It's right next door to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. These plants provide all the clean, reliable power that businesses need. TRI has 3 independent power generation facilities on site. For sensitive manufacturing companies and high-tech firms, this benefit is invaluable. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world.
Your best value in sight is here for you to see. From frames to lenses to eye exams, you're covered A to Z. Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
Davis Optical Centers, with 2 locations in Reno and Sparks.
Davis Optical, your best value in sight.
And coming up tomorrow on Nevada Newsmakers?
Well, Sam, we have Ken Lang of the State Teachers Association and Senator Bob Coffin, who we don't know what he's going to talk about.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye. Thank you.